The lead up to Team USA basketball playing in the 2024 Olympics certainly had its fair share of headlines. We had the Kawhi Leonard situation where Derrick White becomes a last-minute replacement on the team because Kawhi either didn't want to play on the team anymore, or he got cut from the team, or he wasn't healthy enough to play. There's a lot of controversy there in terms of what exactly happened, and then his replacement selection in Derrick White getting picked over guys like Jaylen Brown, like Jalen Brunson. That was a controversy as well. And then leading up to this has been a highly anticipated Team USA team because by our own admission, we tried to put together the actual best team that we could put out there. It's not the B team. It's not the C team. It is the A team of A teams. You have the most decorated Team USA player of all time in Kevin Durant, the all-time leading scorer in Team USA history in Kevin Durant. You have LeBron. You have Steph, Anthony Davis, Bam. Joel Embiid actually showed up and played. You have all of these guys, and it's clear that our goal is to put the best possible team out there. And once we actually got to the Olympics, the assumption was going to be, okay, everything is solidified, everything is figured out. Kevin Durant is actually playing in the first game after missing all of the lead-up games, all of the tune-up games. But then something happened. In their first game against Serbia, a game that was pretty close in the first half, Team USA pulled away in the second half. You look at a box score, there's a very interesting name missing, and that is Jayson Tatum, a, by all counts, top 8, top 10 player in the league, a guy that just won an NBA title as arguably the best player on the team in the Boston Celtics, a team that was dominant from start to finish this year in the NBA. And even though he didn't win Finals MVP, didn't win Eastern Conference Finals MVP, he was obviously a very key piece in the Celtics winning the title. And not only did Jaylen Brown not make the team, which we've already discussed, but Tatum didn't even play a single minute in the first game against Serbia. Now, it's not uncommon for Team USA to have guys that are extremely talented, that are top 15, top 20 players in the league, just not play when they put together rosters of this caliber. There's always going to be a couple of guys that just don't really play because they bring basically 12 players that are actually, real threats to play real minutes. Normally they pick about 10 of those guys. They do 2 5-man lineups. And then when the games get really close, there's like 7 or 8 guys that really rise to the top and play. And the assumption was that the 2 players on the outside looking in terms of minutes were going to be Tyrese Haliburton and Derrick White, the last-minute replacement. Derrick White, who is just objectively the worst player on the team, and Haliburton, who is just not as good as any of the other guards, not named Derrick White. He's better than Drew Holiday overall, but his defense is going to be needed, and then it's, Devin Booker, it's Ant, it's Steph Curry, it's all these guys. And so that was the assumption. That was not how things played out in Game 1 for Team USA. And Jayson Tatum, who, again, top 10 player in the league, arguably, great two-way player, guards, rebounds, he can facilitate, can score, really, really important player to this team, we thought just kind of got forgotten about. Now, in watching the game, there's 2 reasons why this happened. And they've talked about after the game, head coach Steve Kerr has talked about he feels like an idiot. He basically just forgot. He should have played, and they basically promised that he's going to play in their next game on Wednesday. 2 things happened. 1, Kevin Durant did not participate in any of the tune-up games. He was hurt, he was dealing with a calf injury, and he played in this first game and was awesome. He literally could not miss. And so whatever minutes probably would have gone to Tatum had Durant not played, Durant took those up and then some because he played so well. And the other guy that played really well was LeBron. 2 guys that are better than Tatum, at least in this kind of setting, and play the same position as him. So all of a sudden, you've got like 45, 48 minutes on the wing that are just completely gone. And Team USA has shown a willingness in the front court to play Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo together off the bench, and then Joel Embiid's going to play a ton of the 5 as well. So all of a sudden, you're looking at these front court minutes, and there's just not a lot left over. And when you combine that with the fact that KD played as well as he did and LeBron played as well as he did, it's actually not that surprising that someone like Tatum didn't see any minutes at all. Now, he could have played at the end of the game, but I think they were sensitive to the idea of giving Jayson Tatum like garbage minutes towards the end of the game, arguably more disrespectful than just not having him play at all. And it seems like they've smoothed things over. The other thing that happened, and the thing that was most surprising to people, was that Tatum was one of the 2 guys that didn't play at all. It was him and Tyrese Haliburton, and that meant that his Celtics teammate, Derrick White, got pretty significant minutes in this game. And the assumption was, Tatum's better than Derrick White. He should play over him. And people have been arguing, he should be playing over Devin Booker. I just think Steve Kerr, in international play especially, wants to play a good amount of these guards. Like their front court rotation with Durant playing is Durant, LeBron, Bam, AD, and Joel Embiid. And AD and Bam have played really well together. You would think that maybe Bam would be someone that would be on the outside looking in, then Tatum would take those minutes, but they clearly like that combination in the front court. And they just wanted guards, and not only guards, but they wanted role player guards, right? Like it's Steph Ant and Devin Booker are like the star guys. And then you have Drew Holiday, who guards and can shoot and can score and do all this stuff, provides great size. And then Derrick White knows what it's like to play as a role player off these other stars, off Jayson Tatum, off Jaylen Brown. And him as a cutter, as a defender, as a floor spacer, just felt like a cleaner fit during the game. And Derrick White was playing a good amount in these tune-up games once he was actually added to the team as well. And I just think that within the flow of the game, Steve Kerr looked at it and said, yeah, Derrick White is just a good option for us right now, and he wasn't particularly worried about like the feelings of Jayson Tatum and having him actually play. Here's the thing that makes this weird, and I think this is the point that people are going to miss. Jayson Tatum is not just someone that showed up to Team USA. He's not someone that just got added to the team because he's one of the better two-way players in the entire league. Jayson Tatum has been participating in Team USA since like under 18 events, since the under 21 events. Like, he has been a part of Team USA for a while. He's been a critical part of teams on the international stage for Team USA in the past. And so that, I think, is especially surprising, that someone that has, if you want to contextualize Team USA as like a system, as a thing that guys continue to rise up within the ranks of and participate more heavily as they get older, Jayson Tatum has been one of those guys. He's not someone that comes in and out of the team, that only shows up when all the other guys show up. Tatum has been there for a lot of Team USA stuff over the years. And so I could totally understand him feeling a little bit disrespected, that he's always been there, he's shown up, he plays on both ends of the floor, and he just didn't get any run at all. Now, having said all those things, this is one of the main reasons why Team USA, when they send their best players like this, and even when they don't, is so interesting, because it allows us to see how these guys interact, which guys kind of take more control over the team. We've seen, obviously LeBron in this case. In the past, we've seen someone like Anthony Edwards, who by Steve Kerr's own admission was supposed to be a bench player for them, show up and be the best guy in the team for past versions of Team USA. And that is always the most interesting part of this, is these are all incredibly talented players that most of them are used to being the best guy or the second best guy on their teams, trying to lead their teams to wins. And some of them have games that fit better alongside other players. I would argue that Tatum is one of those guys. And others just rise towards the top in these kinds of settings. LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, these kinds of guys show that there can still be a gap. There can be different tiers within what a top 10, a top 15 player in the league actually looks like in these international settings. Now, the downside for Tatum is that he's just a younger guy compared to obviously LeBron, Steph, and KD, and Durant and LeBron were awesome. And so there just weren't really minutes for him. And so ultimately, I don't think that this is like an indictment on Jayson Tatum's ability to be a top player in the league or anything like that. It was just a weird situation within the game with how well KD and LeBron were playing. They kind of needed Derrick White's minutes out there in terms of the way he can guard. Steve Kerr's always been willing to play a little bit smaller, and it just kind of was what it was. And I'm assuming right now that this isn't going to be any kind of like long-term issue for Team USA or cause them any problems throughout the tournament as they get, into some really stiff competition, some really exciting games here coming up. But it's just interesting how a guy that is as good as Tatum is, has the standing within the league that he does, can show up to a team that he has contributed to for basically a decade at this point, and have, in the coaching staff's eyes, either they forgot about him or he just didn't earn any minutes at all. It was very, very strange.